If you change gear, you crash. If you put your brakes on, you crash. You just got everything very gently, everything, every movement gently. Then when you come off and go back and get that ticket, you broke the record. You go back the other way 5 miles, and then you come, the second run is the run which means all. And that is fantastic feeling. You come in, you say, yes, I broke the record. In 1957, my older sister had a boyfriend with a road rocket, and he took me out on it, and we did 100 miles an hour. And that was the beginning of my love of bikes. That was the start of. From then on, it was when I was 14. I bought a car and sold it and bought 2 motorbikes. And from then on, I kept buying more and more bikes and getting my father more and more upset. And then when I was 16, I had a Francis Barnett, and I sold that and got a 250 BSA C12. And then I got a Super Rocket with a Garrett Sports Share from Pride and Clark's in London. And that was the beginning of the, well, passion of bikes, really, I suppose. When I went to Bonneville, let me show you this one. When I went to Bonneville originally, you had to have no front brake. So you build the wheel accordingly, which is that's the front wheel, which has got no brakes at all. Because if you have brakes, you'll kill yourself. Right. I'll put things away and forget, because I have so much stuff. There's a pair of carburetors we raced with, which were okay, but they weren't quite big enough. And the guy on the give a better position for the float chambers, you know. So you've got to look at all these things when you're racing. Look at it. 18mm plug. I've quite a collection of plugs. In fact, I have boxes of them somewhere, everywhere. And that one there, another one, look, KLG, still in its tin. They are, still in its tin, brand new, 1920s. When you bought a plug in those days, they were quite expensive, you've got to think, you know. I mean, plugs were not cheap. I mean, I used to buy a Lodge, they were 3 and 6, or a Champion was 5 shillings. I'm talking about when wages were, you know, I started work at £3 a week. That was quite a lot of money. You thought, my God, I can't afford a Champion. I'll have a Lodge. The old brake linings, look at that. I had boxes of old brake linings, brand new, you know. Me and my friend Ron Farthing decided we go to India and do a trip across the Himalayas for charity. I did it for the local hospice, and we're riding Royal Enfields we hired, and we went to the shop, and there's a Norton 16H sitting outside, not in bad condition. Ooh. So we went inside and started talking to him, and Mr. I can't remember his name, he's dead now, and we decided he had lots of bikes around, so we decided we'd have, when we finished our trip, we'd have a few days off and go around and look at the stuff, you know, and buy. And we formed a company called ERA Imports, me and Ron and Andy, and we bought all these bikes back in containers. They were pretty rough, but we bought loads back for about 2 or 3 years we were doing this. And then in the meantime, we went to Egypt, and we found lots of bikes out there from a chap called Big Boys Toys, I think it was called. He took us around to find bikes, and we called it Patterson Egypt, the firm, and we bought lots of bikes back from there until they changed the law in Egypt. Anything over 50 years old can't be exported. But then it was 70, so we got lots. We lost the last lot. So then we had a trip to Florida, and we bought a motorcycle shop, the whole shop, everything. Signs, everything, and brought that back to England. Well, the Viscount was sitting in the garage for about 20 years, looking very sad. I heard about it, and the widow had it, the lady who had it, went round, and people made us silly offers. I mean, the bike was quite an expensive bike, so I bought it home, and it looked pretty rough really, and we went through it, spent some money on it, started using it on the road. Very nice bike, very quick. This on your glove, so if you come off, that will immediately cut the power off. They put that on, that pulls out of there. That'll cut power off to the engine, and you also have this on the other side for fuel. Which this one here. This one here. The fuel's turned off now, so it's pushed right up. You can flick that forward. That'll cut your fuel off. Which I had built by Dresden, Dave Deegan's a friend of mine. He built that. It's the one I used to go out to Bonneville on, which I'm very pleased with. It's a lovely bike, it handles well, it's fast. Originally a Manx Norton, 1957, and the frame was quite badly damaged, so Dresden, Dave Deegan's, they repaired the frame, and then they fitted the engine and gearbox, and generally fitted all the bits on it, which I went to Bonneville with and had a very nice time. Broke 2 records, and since then it's been back, and Mick Cook Racing has gone over it again, and Dave did their special things on the heads, which was quite expensive, but it makes the engine go a lot better. So it's quite a powerful bike for what it is. I mean, you're talking about a probably 1952 engine, and it's the gearbox is the design of 1930s, but it does go well. It's a very, very pleasing bike to ride.